Hi guys, Kurt Provost here, your guide to all things NuSkin. You know what? Of all the tools that we have available to us to help build our NuSkin business, there is one that is superior to them all. However, it's also the one that seems to be utilized the least. And that is, of course, events. Events are so powerful for building your business, particularly in the early stages. Why is that? How is that? Well, I think the best way to share that or explain it is to share my own personal story, because that's how I launched my business in the early days. You see, when I began, I was young, I was dumb, I had no experience to speak of in business except for bad experiences. I'd been conned out of my money with some online website building scam thing, and I had also built a website to launch a book that I had written, and I sold a total of 4 copies on the launch day. I went on to sell a few more, but anyhow, it didn't make me rich so that I could retire on a beach in Bora Bora sipping coconuts all day like I hoped it would. Nonetheless, so that lack of experience meant that I wasn't an ideal distributor to go out there and build an anti-aging business. So what did I do to actually get my business up and running? Well, thankfully I did one thing right, 2 things right. The first one was I kept accurate records. I kept a record in an old dusty notebook of every single conversation that I had in those early stages of my business. So it turns out that the very first person I spoke to said yes. And I made more money from that purchase that they made than the entire 3 to 4 months of working and building a business prior to that to launch that book. So that I was in, I was sold. I was like, you know what? NuSkin is my vehicle. This is how I'm going to do it. I can be a connector. I can connect people who have a problem with a company that has amazing solutions for those problems, and I can act as the middleman between. And that's essentially what I aimed to do. I went out there and I spoke to a lot of people really fast. In fact, I spoke to 26 people in a row, and all 26 people said no to me. And they did, I mean, it's brutal. They didn't even say maybe, not right now, I'll think about it. They just said flat out no. They weren't interested at all. In fact, quite a few of them tried to convince me that it was a terrible idea and I should quit immediately. They tried to talk me out of it. So it was way beyond just a no. They were trying to give me like an intervention of sorts. And that's funny. You may encounter people doing that. I guess they have their best intentions at heart, but they simply haven't seen what you have seen. They haven't heard what you have heard. They haven't experienced what you have experienced. And so they don't really have a right to make that judgment just yet. Anyhow, what happened after those 26 people? Well, the 27th person said yes. And guess what they bought? They bought one supplement. And that supplement, I didn't even sell it at retail to them. I sold it at wholesale. So it meant I made like, I don't know, $2, maybe $5 at the most. Not exactly life-changing income here. However, I didn't stop at the 27th person, and that's the most important part, because this story would suck if I just stopped at the 26th person, which is quite reasonable. Most people seem to quit around 3 no's, which is pathetic and yet true. Most people in network marketing will get 3 no's and they'll go, oh, you know what, it's too hard. It's too hard for this dream of mine, and they'll give up. And that's a sad reality. So if you can get past those 3 no's as soon as possible, maybe get to the 4th no within a day or 2, then, you know, it's smooth sailing from there. You got over the hardest bump, so to speak. Anyhow, after that 27th, it would have been a sad story if I stopped there, but I didn't stop there. I spoke to more people. The 28th person, I invited them to an event. And that's where the game really changed for me, because I was going through my numbers, I was looking at the conversations I was having, and I realized, you know, something's not working. I'm not saying the right things here. And of course, I didn't know what to say. So I decided, you know what? How about I just invite them to events where there are people who know what to say, who actually know what they're talking about. And I use a third-party tool to help me grow my business. And I can do that hands off. Now, it's not because I'm brilliant and I'm a genius and I came up with that. No, it was because my upline, my sponsor, suggested that for me, and I followed along in their wisdom. And the 28th person attended an event because I invited them to this event. I said, hey, I've got this business. I'm super excited about it. I think it's amazing. You know, all of these things I don't really recommend. I said, there's an event coming up. The best way to check it out is head along to that. Are you open to taking a look? Now, that is a good thing to say. Are you open to taking a look? Because ultimately, you're just looking for people who are open to taking a look. And they were. Surprise, surprise. So they attended the event. And I got a phone call that afternoon. I wasn't even at the event because it was in another city, another part of the country. I couldn't be there for that event. This is true leverage if you are using events. That's one of the powers of it. You don't actually have to be there. It's better if you are, of course. But if it's out of town, if it's in another country, that's the leverage, is that you don't necessarily have to be there, but you can have faith that they will see something, they will hear something, they will hear great speakers, and they will meet people and get personal stories and testimonials. And so I got this phone call in the afternoon of that event, and they said, you know what, Kurt, I think you're really onto something. I see this, I see what you see. It looks amazing. It looks perfect for me. Let's do this. I've just bought a bunch of product, by the way, and I've invited a bunch of friends to go to the next event, and I've bought my ticket already. I was like, oh my God, that's cool. Had a business builder, and we got started building the business. What about the 29th person who I also invited to that same event? Well, they attended as well. They rang me up in the afternoon and the exact same story happened. And we were off and running. And 6 months later, I had built to a Ruby organization. And you know what? My business was growing and I created an income that even though that organization isn't there today, because this is 9.5 years later, this income hasn't changed. It has been month after month for years now that has allowed me to travel around and to have that freedom of a flexible income coming in whether I was working or not. That is the power of events. You can leverage someone else speaking who knows way more about the products, way more about this business, and has way more experience to share it for them. And that is the best possible advice I can give someone who is brand new in this business, is to take advantage of events. So check out when the next event is in your local area or online, and make sure, number one, that you're attending it, but make sure, number two, that you're not attending it alone. Make sure your contacts are attending that event and really make use of this incredible resource to build your business. My name is Kurt Provost, guys. I am your guide to all things NuSkin. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be reminded when I next create a video like this, and I will see you very soon.